My mom, like, she's just like, I never would have imagined this, right? Like her number one goal, she just wanted daughters who had successful careers. And she made that very clear from the beginning. We have checked that box, but to her, like, she's just, I see, like, she's like, this is what I worked hard for. This is why we left our home country and moved to another country and literally navigated this whole world, a different school system, a different culture, a different society, so that our children could thrive. And so I think we take that responsibility very seriously.
Deepa, welcome to That Thesis Spark.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I would love to start at the very beginning. When you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Funny story. Like most children were like, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a doctor when they're, in third grade. I was like, I'm going to start my own business. So kind of what I'm doing now, a version of that is what I wanted to do.
You manifested it.
I did. I was very aggressive. I was like, I will start my own business one day.
What were you like when you were a kid?
Apparently I was like my children, right? Like my mother continues to just laugh when one of them does like inane things. The other day, one of them came home and he was like, I was making some dinner and he was like, oh, it's bad dinner. And my mom was on FaceTime and she's cracking up. And she's not the type of mom who laughs at things that easily. And her reason was because she's like, you did that as a kid. Like you wouldn't want to eat it, but you just want to say ridiculous things to like elicit a reaction. But more importantly, I was like very strong-willed. I was very opinionated, and I kind of did what I wanted to do. So like, well, I'm very much a second child, like really lived that life through and through. So like my older sister, if like, she was told you can't do that, or like, like you're grounded, like go to your room, she would actually like sit in her room and do nothing. I'd be like, okay, fine. I'll go find something else to do. Like if I can't watch TV, I will go read a book. I will go play outside. Like I would always find an alternative. And shockingly, my sister, not shockingly actually, my sister took a very traditional corporate route, has had a very successful career. And I was the one that was like, I'm gonna break all the rules and start a business.
You talked about breaking the rules quite a bit. The rules within reason though.
Oh yeah, I still follow the rules. I stretch the bounds of the rules.
How did that manifest as you went to college and in your first jobs?
So I think college, not as much. Like I was very on the path I was on. But then when my first job came up, I went, and there I also went very traditional, right? I worked in finance. I actually worked at Lehman Brothers. I got hired as an analyst for 2007 and then on the trading floor. So like literally at the heart of it all. And then in 2008, everything was falling apart around me and I was really unhappy. And so I was just like, okay, these markets are crumbling, literally. And this is not what I want to do. Just because I can I'm good at running spreadsheets and doing math, it doesn't mean I have to work in finance. And so I fortunately lived in New York and you make friends with people and you're like, oh, I love fashion. Like I love retail. I love all these things. What can I do? And I met this wonderful woman named Melissa. And she was working at Coach at the time, and she and I became friends. And through her and a bunch of other people, I ended up finding my way into the industry. Melissa ended up becoming one of my co-founders. So we've been together for a long time now and been friends for a long time. But really the rule that I was breaking there was I left the traditional, finance consulting, like law, if you didn't become a doctor, path. And today my mom has like this hilarious revisionist history where other people would be like, oh, my kids are trying to do this or whatever. She's like, you should support them. See, look at Deepa. And my sister, and my brother-in-law, he stands there and he's like, do you remember that like winter like fight in 2000, like early 2008 in my kitchen? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, I remember that vividly. It was a fight I will never forget, right? But it was like the idea of me leaving like a very stable career to go work in the fashion industry was not very palatable, but we worked through it, ended up going to business school. And then actually when it came to starting the business, everybody was super supportive and that felt like less breaking the rules and more just manifesting what I'd always wanted to do.
That's awesome. That first role in fashion, what were you doing and where were you working?
So actually what's interesting is, I didn't mention this earlier, is actually when I was in high school, for my senior year of high school, we were required to do an internship, and I was like lived right outside of the city in New Jersey. So I actually ended up coming into the city and working in the Harper's Bazaar fashion closet because I loved it. And that was actually like a way of me being like, I love fashion, but I know I can never actually have a career in it because I need to go work in finance or something like that. And then lo and behold, this is like, I've built my entire career around fashion and finance basically. But, and so then I actually ended up at Club Monaco on the merchandising and planning side. So it really was like all about the analytics behind retail, right? Like how do you forecast inventory, sales? And then I also got to touch, sourcing, production, operations, and I was very inquisitive and curious. So I kind of got to know everybody. I also was very good at building a spreadsheet for anything. So people learned that quickly and would come to me and be like, hey, can you do this for me? So I'm not manually like filling in cells and then like summing things. I was like, yes, I would happily do that for you. So it's like, I provided value there and I got to learn a lot about the supply chains, which has been very helpful.
You talked about business school and that you and Melissa both found your ways at Wharton. What was Wharton like?
Wharton was fun. It was great. I think everybody's different opinions on business school. I very strongly believe it was such a necessary step in my career trajectory. And, my husband also went there. He came the year after me. And the two of us, we both agree our careers have taken very different paths, but the trajectory of our careers was fundamentally impacted in a positive way because we went to school. And it wasn't just about the classes, right? It's the people you meet, the network you build, and that the Wharton network is massive. And then brand name is huge. So when we were trying to start this business, and we're trying to pitch to like vendors and manufacturers and material vendors in Asia, saying, we just graduated from Wharton, or we're here working on this, and we won this award for our venture idea, right? That goes a long way, right? To convince somebody that they should work with you. It helps to, have some stamps of approval, and it was a really big stamp of approval, but we have so many investors that have come through that network. We have so many customers. We have so many people have come through it, and it's really great. And we now try to give back as much as we can. We love going back to campus. We love talking to current students. It's a really positive environment. I know there's obviously opinions on business school and Wharton specifically, but for me, Mel, my husband, just a fantastic accretive experience overall.
And Dagne was born at Wharton, and it was at a time where Wharton really wasn't known for retail entrepreneurship or consumer entrepreneurship in particular. What was it like being kind of one of the first to incubate and launch a company out of Wharton?
It was tough in many ways. So we were just a couple years after the Warby Parker guys, and a couple others. And so what was good was you actually had some professors at the time that had worked with them or advised them, and we were able to piggyback off of that. But when we started the brand we launched in 2013. So we started working on it 2011, 2012. And so much of what makes launching an e-commerce focused brand so easy today didn't exist then, right? And so we were figuring it out. And when we went out to pitch, we had to convince people that e-commerce was the future, which is crazy to think about, but people still weren't there, right? This concept of direct to consumer wasn't fully baked into the industry, right? So I actually went back to some previous bosses and I was like, hey, do you want to invest in this business? I think you believe in me. And some were into it and some were like, but you're focusing on e-commerce? What about stores? Things like that. So it was interesting, but then also Shopify had just started. So it was a time when you actually were trying to decide between, do I build it at my store on Shopify or do I do a custom Magento build or whatever, WooCommerce, whatnot. We started actually a Magento build, and then this wonderful developer who literally still works with us today, he was like, can I just do this on Shopify? This is gonna be the right decision. So it was a very different time. I think in certain ways it was much easier to launch a brand because you actually had more of a captive audience, right? There was less noise. Not everybody was doing it, but it was harder because a lot of the things that have become just out of the box solutions were just being built.
I want to ask a question that I've had for you and Melissa for I think the 12 years I've known you. Where did the name Dagne Dover come from? And specifically, I know Dover is Jesse's last name. Where's the Dagne? Where did that come from?
So Dagny means new day, new dawn in Nordic languages. And we wanted to build this persona, this personality of like what we wanted the brand to be, like if a person embodied the brand we wanted to build. And so we built Dagne Dover, right? So Dagny was like us challenging the status quo. And then Dover is Jessie, our third co-founder's last name. And she's also the creative director and head designer. And so it just felt like a really great person to bring to the world. And I now, 12 years later, very much feel that way.
Who was your first customer? Who were you designing the first Dagne bags for?
I'm pretty sure you were our first customer. We go way back, right? But yeah, like no, you, the part of life, the stage of life that you were in is who we first started with. So I think everybody knows us today for our neoprene bags, right? Really great for on-the-go active life. You can take it to work, you can travel with it. It makes a great baby bag. But when we first started, it actually was with just traditional work totes for women. It was addressing what our classmates at school wanted, right? So Mel had worked at Coach before, and she was gifted this like amazing, like $700 beautiful handbag. She gets to school and she's like, where does my laptop go? Where do I put like my pen? This is falling out, a water bottle spilling and ruining everything in the bag. And it was like 5 pounds. It's like, how are you supposed to get through life this way? So we went and we designed this product that was meant to be both this amazing combination of form and function, like, right? And when we met Jessie, she just got it as well. She's like, yep, like she was just graduated from Parsons, was unbelievably talented. And she was like, yeah, we're trained to think about the exterior, but not design the interior. And we should spend just as much time thinking about both. And so, yeah, we started with working women, really like women on the go. And we've evolved over the years, but that still is very much our core.
Materials have always been Dagny's differentiator from the beginning to what you're known for today. And I remember that first tote was this really beautiful like canvas that was ballistic, like durable. It could withstand anything, but had all the compartments and storage you could need. You evolved, and as you said, to neoprene pretty early on in the business. Why neoprene, and how did that really grow and expand the business from there?
Yeah, so in 2017, we launched our neoprene collection, which is the 365 collection. And the idea really came when Jessie and I were in Vietnam visiting factories. And we were just like working on, right, some new styles, new season, new colorways, a lot of really great development going on. And I said to her, I was like, what's next? And she was like, you know, thinking about neoprene. She had a bathing suit that was made out of neoprene. I actually had a skirt made out of it at that time. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And for her, she was like, what's really cool about it is it wears and falls like a leather, but it has all of these really cool technical properties that I think would be awesome for our products. And so we went about it. Nobody had really done it for bags, right? It's like a scuba suit material. And we were trying to do that. And everybody I was asked, they're like, how do you know nobody was doing it? I was like, because our factories told us, right? They were like, what are you doing asking us to like learn how to properly stitch the neoprene without like, you know, pulling and things like this. And so we worked on it and then launched it. And that really was like a pivotal step function change for the business, right? We had places like Equinox asking to pick us up to sell in their doors. And it's become like pretty much the majority of our business, and it's really exciting, but we're still able to kind of continuously evolve. And it came at a perfect time when like you were seeing like athleisure take over the world, but the question was, what are you carrying in that more casual lifestyle?
For our family's experience, when you launched neoprene is when everyone in my family started stealing my Dagne bags. So my backpacks, my parents stole, my laptop bag, my mom stole. Like it really, I think, expanded your customer base as well from being working woman focused who had everything in her bag from the morning SoulCycle class to evening drinks into really going wider. Once you really, I think, fit that mold, how do you think about entering a new market and materials and making the materials story work with creating something that I think the market's missing?
Yeah, so for us, we often think about, we started with that working woman and then we continue to expand kind of like exactly what you said. How do we capture more of her life, but then maybe her partner's life, maybe her parents, siblings, like the world around her, right? Our goal was to always like expand into somebody's closet. And so we thought about use case, right? End use. What are you doing that you need something for, right? And so we started with that work tote, and then we said, well, what are you using when you're exactly running from SoulCycle to the office to drinks? And that's really where neoprene got its groove. And then it was, what are parents doing, right? Melissa just had a kid, I was pregnant, and we launched a diaper backpack. But also with that, we're like, it needs to look not like a diaper bag. And also any parent or any caregiver should want to carry it, right? And so we designed the Indie Diaper Backpack, which is literally our #1 selling product. It's what so many people know us for. And I think what we really did well there was what we are really good at, is understanding the actual needs and pain points of the customer before they even realize that they need it. And as we've expanded, we've done so many different collections, small ones, larger pushes. It always comes down to what pain point are we trying to solve? So over the past 2 years, we've expanded into travel in a meaningful way. And there, for example, Jessie, who is a pet parent, designed this amazing dog carrier, a pet carrier, and it came from her own pain points. She's like, I've tried everyone out there, and it's not working for me. And so it's a very luxurious pet carrier, but she was like, I want my pets to have a really soft surface that I can like wash. It needs to be able to collapse because I live in a New York City apartment and I don't have all this room. Or when I go to a hotel, it needs to be able to, fit under a seat on a plane and follow FAA restrictions. But then it also needs to be able to be like seat belted into a car, like all of these things, right? And that brag has done insanely well because it came from her own lived experience, right? So it really always comes down to what's the use case, what is the material, and then what is the functionality. And then what's amazing is our design team, led by Jessie, is just very talented. Like, I don't know how they do what they do, but they're so amazing. I run the spreadsheets, they design great product, but they make it look cool, right? And something that everybody actually wants to carry.
Very few times do companies last as long as Dagne Dover has. Very few times the founding team are still operating and growing the company. Dagne is really special in that manner, in that your founding team is continuing to run the company. You've been very cautious and did a lot of things differently when it came to fundraising and financing the company when you started than a lot of the other women-founded consumer brands were doing in 2012, 2013. Talk about your intention to raise capital really thoughtfully and in a very aligned manner, because I think that's one of the reasons for your success today and how your team continues to operate and grow the business in a really healthy way.
Yeah, great question. For us, we've always approached fundraising from what's our end goal, right? What's our long-term vision? And for us, we wanted to build this great brand that would have generational appeal and be around for generations. And brand building doesn't happen overnight. And I think one thing was we all had experiences within the industry which helped us suss out which path of financing made sense. And so we ended up going after patient capital, right? Capital that is very supportive and with us for the long run. What they care about is, in the long run, is this going to be a worthwhile investment? So, at the time that we were originally fundraising, most people are going after your very traditional venture capital dollars, right? And the venture capital world had decided that e-commerce was tech, which it is not. Like, a brand is not a technology company. And as I say to people all the time, and actually when I go back to Wharton and talk to people, what they want to know about is the fundraising. And I was like, what's your long-term goal and vision? You have to align that and your risk appetite with then how you finance your business. So for us, we were fortunate and we've pounded the pavement. We have a lot of people on our cap table as a result, and we often took smaller checks earlier on and still sometimes today because we want the right people in the mix. Also, they become your best salespeople and ambassadors, which is phenomenal. But it really came down to, are they in it with us? One of our board members and investors, when we met him, he said to us, he's like, brand building is a 10+ year game. We're like, yes, let's talk more. He's like, it's about lifetime value of the customer. It's about building a great brand. It's about the stickiness. It's not about monthly acquisition cohorts. And that was music to our ears. But at the time, everybody cared about acquisition at all costs. And so when we were talking about profitable unit economics, sometimes we were literally laughed out of the room, and we said, that's okay. People told us, they're like, can you invert that? Like, you should be spending more to grow. And that didn't feel right. And actually, thankfully, we've always been so cautious about our customer acquisition strategy that when we got hit with tariffs over many years, not just this year, right? Since 2018, literally, we've been dealing with the impact of tariffs. We've been able to work through it because we weren't burning so much capital to just acquire a customer at all costs. We always are focused on profitable customer acquisition. So, and we've had investors who love that and agree with that. So it's really important to pick an investor strategy that aligns with what you want. Having said that, I have friends who are like, I couldn't do what you guys did. I'd rather raise the big round, be flushed with capital, and have to deal with the expectations of that. So it's all like personal risk appetite.
You also were really intentional about growing the company in terms of who you hired, how you hired, and a lot of your original hires are still with you today. Talk to me about how you approached growing the team, because I know that first hire can kind of be the hardest sometimes.
So what was helpful from day one was there's three of us, and the three of us have very different, distinct skill sets. So we kind of bootstrapped just the three of us for a while. And then I would say our first like real hire, who's still at the company today, ended up being much more of a kind of, I can figure anything out, like very scrappy mentality. She runs operations for us now. And so it was all in the operational, more financial world. And she came to us on a temporary basis and has never left. But I think like she is representative of so many people that have thrived at the company, where it's like, if you have the like, I can figure this out attitude, we do that together. But then also our second other person who's still at the company, who was one of our first hires, she came with years of experience. She came to us to run sourcing and production. That is something where you need the experience, you need the relationship to be very good at that job. Things that Jesse and I were trying to develop with literally the same vendor. She came in 4 weeks, she was like, here you go. We're like, but we've been trying this for months. And she's like, I knew what to ask. Like, I've done this for a while. So it was a combination of the two. But yeah, we have a lot of great people. And I think I like to believe we've built a very intentional culture. And that's a reason why people have stayed, because they're in it, they love it, and they like building it with us together. And we try to make everybody feel like they are also like very integrally involved in the strategic growth and vision of the company.
You and Melissa are both Asian American women, and I think a lot of our values are similar ones. How have your upbringings and your family values influenced your leadership style and the culture of Dagne?
I think the number one place is like our ability to be really scrappy, especially like in the early years, but even today, like I think wanting to be capital efficient and like very fiscally responsible kind of just like came to us inherently as like immigrant children at the end of the day. And Jesse was like, okay, like this, okay, cool. Like I can do this too, which was great. But then I think there's a resilience. There's a grit and there's a resilience that you have. And this, I think for us, it is so important to like continue what the like people before us have worked so hard for. And it's something we talk about openly. And then a really fun thing has been like just watching our entire diaspora thrive is really fun. And to get to be part of it and actually like support others in that, it's very fulfilling.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Dagne product?
It's like asking who your favorite child is. I would say I'll go with what I'm carrying on the repeat right now. We launched a new backpack earlier this year called the Reese backpack, and it's a little, like most of our backpacks are kind of like fully loaded. You can travel with it, you can take it to the gym, it's a diaper backpack. This one was a little bit pared down, so it was really good for just like day-to-day commuter life, and especially with like kids who are like not in the baby stage anymore, like, so it works well. So during the day, it carries my laptop, like whatever extra things that I need to like run to the office, run to meetings. What's also great though is a backpack, but it has a like long enough top strap that I can kind of use it as like a tote if I need to, and it just has a cute style and design to it. But then on the weekends with the kids, like it fits what I need with them, has the snacks, has the water bottles. So really love that one. And then I love adding like all of our little keychains, like the mini versions of our bags to everything and anything. And like I use the Mara keychain as my wallet now, and it just like goes from bag to bag. But obviously there's so many that I love, but those are the two that I'm like always have. I have it here right now.
Is there a product that you haven't designed yet that you are dying to make happen?
Well, we'd have to sign an NDA for that. But yes, we do. I think going back to the use case piece, we continuously think about what do we have that we can make better, or what do we have in the, because the assortment's pretty robust now. We think about, well, what is this still not fully addressing, and can we evolve? So next year, there's actually a lot of new products coming out for all the neoprene lovers and other things, but really, we always still go back to what else do we need to get through our day? Because like we are still our core customer base. So there's some good stuff coming.
In addition to operating Dagne, you're an early stage investor, and I see this really as your way of giving back to those who really invested that time and energy in helping you start Dagne. What is your investment thesis? What are you looking at when you're investing in a company?
So when investing at the early stage, and we're talking about relatively small checks, what we, my husband and I like to do, because it's something we do together, is kind of what we think through is there's 3 different buckets. The first is this could end up becoming a unicorn. We are fortunate because of the network that we have that we're even being asked to invest in X round. We'll see what happens. And could be a cool, fun payday. Don't really know as much, but trust the person who sent it to us. The second is more like longer term, right? Some real estate things like that. That's meant to actually be more like, yes, we know this will actually like be a good cash flow investment, stuff like that. Maybe some funds that people are launching, doing small like initial LP checks if we really believe in them as investors. And then the third, which is what I'm the most passionate about, is generally, let's take an industry we know really well. So it's often consumer for me. And if there is a idea, right? A brand that like really resonates, and then founders, like it really comes down to that, right? You can have the best idea, but execution is what it comes down to. So you, like for us, it really matters who is behind this. Why are they the most equipped to bring this product, this vision to market, and also using the product, right? There's not a single brand we've invested in that I have not maniacally used that product or tried that product before making the decision. And then often try to really focus as much on like investing in women, investing in South Asian founded companies, BIPOC founded companies, right? I think my goal is exactly what you said, is I want to be that angel investor that we've had or we're looking for, and to provide that value, to provide that feedback. Some of my favorite angel investors in the business who wrote small checks are the ones that to this day you can call and I can be like, we need help with this, or we have one right now. He's just rolling up his sleeves. He recently exited his previous company and has time, and it's just like, how can I help you? How can I help you get to the next level? And it's so helpful because he's done it before. He knows what's going on. And so the goal is that we get to be that for other people. But yeah, like great product, great people.
Your boys are growing up in a very different kind of culture and climate than we grew up in. How are you bringing them the best of both cultures in a world that's rapidly changing?
We are in a world that is rapidly changing. What I will say is there is more openness to culture than there used to be, right? Growing up, I don't know about you, but I always felt like I literally lived 2 lives, right? I was this Deepa at school, and then when I came home, what we did on the weekends, right? I went to Indian school every Saturday morning, the food we ate, the language we spoke, the holidays we celebrated, right? It felt very separate. And then as I got older, especially when like, a little bit in high school, but then really college is when I felt like there was more community, there was more celebration, right? There was a South Asian society, things like that. But still, it never felt like I was able to be the full Deepa until I was older. And I think having kids, it actually makes me care a lot about making sure that they are able to not just experience our culture, but like share it. But we also live in a world now where it's so much more accepted. I think like one of my favorite times of the year is Diwali. And it's always been, but now it is fun because I get to share it with my kids. We do it as a family, but then we do it with everybody. We go into school and like this year when I went in for Diwali, like these children, the excitement, the ones who have seen me do this before, they're like, oh, it's Diwali. Are we gonna get to like decorate our diyas? And what activity are we doing? And what book are you reading? And they remember and they wanna do it. And the kids had off for school this Diwali. And so we did a play date at home, and like these kids went back home and they told their parents, and I'm getting these pictures of them trying to decorate their rooms for Diwali. And you're like, this is what matters. And like something I actually like to tell my, I have a bunch of older nieces and they're like middle school, high school age, like thinking about college, is one thing I said to my oldest niece was like, when you go to college, like really be intentional about the people that you surround yourself with. Like, yes, like focus, do well, blah, 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 like all the important things that all of us are telling her. But I was like, but think about, be intentional with who you surround yourself with, because that will end up being one of the most important decisions you make, because that will help dictate the culture of not just your life, but your family life longer term. And I guess like I'm getting to live that now, where I think I've tried to be in a world that is very open and very diverse, and I try to support that as much as possible. And seeing my kids like thrive and feel so much pride, and there's no hiding, right? Like my kids will like literally play Bollywood songs for their friends, and then their friends go home and want to play the same songs. And I was like, that is not the life that I lived as a kid. And so it makes me really happy. I will say, like we stay and live in New York though for a reason, because that diversity and that like openness to other cultures is very much part of like the world that we live in here.
I don't know if you see the life you've built this way, but this is how I see it. You've really built something rooted in legacy. You're building a legacy brand. You're building a legacy for what it means to be the angel you wish you had or you were looking for, to really pay it forward for entrepreneurs coming up. You're building a legacy with your boys and what it means to be Indian American and South Asian American in a rapidly changing world, but being a model for that. What do you want to do next?
First of all, I love that. I'm going to steal that. Like, legacy is important. I think we've worked really hard to get to where we are and to be able to pay it forward and continue it. But what's next? Still continuing to build that legacy, especially for Dagne. Like we are, like to that point I made before, brand building's a 10+ year game. We're only in year 12, so there's so much more for us to build and grow, other countries to take the brand to, other verticals, partnerships, collaborations. It's very exciting. So that is still my like primary focus in terms of that. But I think one thing I'm really passionate about is continuing to foster the communities that I'm in, and giving back used to be a large part of my life, and then started the company and then had kids, and I've kind of pulled back from that and really trying to find places where I can do more of that is important. I think one way is by supporting and investing in other businesses, but really I am trying to actually figure out like what is the cause that matters that I can actually go back to like giving more to. We also live in a very interesting time, and so to me as a mom especially, like we lead by example, right? So if I want my kids to be conscientious humans who give back, they need to see me doing it. And we do small things, right? We do it. It is a constant conversation in our home, but formalizing it. There was a time where I was very involved with some charitable work, and I've really not focused on as much. So that's the area where I feel like there is more legacy to be built, and what can we do there? And it's something that actually my husband and I met through a charity that we were involved with. So it is actually important to both of us, not just one of us. So we've been talking about what do we do, right? We've gotten to a certain point, we're at a certain place. What else can we do for the world that we live in? How do we, continue to pay it forward?
What does legacy for Dagne look like?
So I think I'm very proud, we are very proud of the fact that it feels like we have built this brand that will be around for generations. This was never supposed to be something that grow big fast and sell it and see what happens. Yes, we have goals. We would love to, be able to reap the benefits of the business that we've grown in the long term, but really it is like, we want it to be that generational, decades, like surviving brand that my children, whether they're still involved in it or not, I'm pretty sure if you ask my older son, he would if he was given the option. I think he will be an entrepreneur. Actually, I know he will be an entrepreneur because he's told me he wants to start his own business, which is like the best feeling. But something that they are like my mom, like she started that, and people are still carrying it and still using it. I think we've really built a legacy, the start of a legacy brand, and there's just still so much more to do.
If you could go back and meet young Deepa and tell her one thing, what would it be?
I would say keep at it. Like, just keep looking forward. Like, you are tough, you are strong, but when you have that gut feeling, let that lead, because it actually has worked out for me, fortunately, right? Like, not everybody decides to quit their big finance job and start a new career, go to school, start a business, and get to sit here talking to you, being like, we've done this. But I would say, like, listen to your gut, and like, just trust yourself.
I love that. Deepa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. This was so fun. It's so nice to like connect, and thank you for always being a big Dagne supporter.
Day one.
Like day one, like OG day one.